Hey, what is going on, guys? And welcome back to another great podcast by Falto and friends. Yay!
Yay.
Today is episode 17, I believe, of the SlipStream podcast. Yeah, I haven't really been up to, keeping that up to date, but I mean, to be fair, don't do it to my channel anyways. But yeah, so today, my guest is going to be, Nish. Would you like to introduce yourself and, and you can also, plug your channels and whatnot.
Yeah. Hello. Thanks for having me on, Falto. I'm Nish from Nishquik Pops. I go by Nish or Nishquik, whatever is fine by you guys. But I talk about Nintendo and JRPGs on my channel. And in terms of JRPGs, I mostly talk about Xenoblade Chronicles, Persona/Atlas, and I'm starting to talk more about Final Fantasy now as well. And I'm very excited to chat about Rebirth today on this podcast. So thanks for having me on.
Yeah, actually, thank you for coming on because, now I don't know too many people that have a PS5 and that are playing this at launch because I know many are waiting for the PC version, which,
Yeah, I know
spoiler.
a few friends who are waiting
Mhm.
as well because they don't
Yeah.
have PS5 yet.
Uh-huh.
And since they played a remake on PS4, they're eagerly waiting for the PC version.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
Right.
I'm looking forward to getting started.
All right. All right, so without any further ado, let's get right into the topic. And before I get started, I do have to give massive spoiler warnings. Anything that says Final Fantasy VII is fair game. So,
Yeah,
yeah,
OG and compilation.
yes. And I will be eating some snacks or ice cream, so if you hear some munching, you shouldn't. But in case you do, my apologies. Like this is gonna be a long podcast, so I'm not gonna starve or myself. So yeah. Anyway, that's besides
I
the
don't I don't
point.
blame you. I've
Yeah,
snacked during podcasts as well, so you're good.
yeah. So my apologies if you hear something, and there will be timestamps. So if you want to go to a specific thing, I'll try my best to, like add timestamps for like detail as I can, but I'm not gonna go like overboard. So like each talking point that we talk about, like I'll have a timestamp for.
Yep.
All right. So now let us get started. So first, I'd like to talk about like what were our general or overall thoughts with the rebirth at a surface level or like a high level. So, and we'll keep this very brief
Mhm.
as obviously we're going to go, deep later on. So please, you go first, Nish.
Yeah, so a little background is I played recently before Rebirth. I completed the original Final Fantasy VII, but before that, I played Remake first. Remake is actually the first Final Fantasy game that I completed to the end and saw the credits. And throughout like the past couple years, I played the original on and off, but I never beat it until this December. And I thought Remake was good. I thought it was like a pretty great game. I didn't think super highly of it. And I thought the original was good. I liked the story. I like getting that context for everything. But I thought it was just pretty simple, alright game. Crisis Core was also the same simple, pretty good, decent game. And my expectations for Rebirth were pretty high, but nothing like skyrocketingly high. So I kept my expectations pretty moderate. And I was kind of nervous more so than anything for Rebirth, honestly. But when I started the game, I literally could not put it down. I could not stop thinking about it. And long story short, it's now one of my favorite games of all time, not even one of my favorite RPGs of all time. I loved every bit of it, and to kind of sum everything up, it has kind of everything and every single thing I look for in a video game all in one little package. And it's great, and I really enjoyed my time with it.
Wow, that is awesome. Because as Rex from Xenoblade says, yeah, my thoughts exactly. That actually
Yes.
applies here.
Yep.
So yeah, I'm not gonna repeat like everything you said, but yeah, like a lot of those things apply for with me too. Except not playing the OG part, because that I actually am currently playing the OG. So right
do you know the
now,
story of the OG? Like, do you
um,
know everything that happens?
I know a general synopsis, but I don't know the details, like the specific, like nitty gritty.
Interesting.
So yeah, right now I'm at the part like where we're going to the Temple of Ancients. So
Okay.
yeah, so that's
I'll remember that when we're talking about part 3 related things, because in terms of part 3, I might have, like, when we discuss what's gonna happen in part 3, I might delve into a little bit of like disc 2 stuff for OG7. I'll
okay.
keep in mind that you're still playing the game.
Sure. I guess for that part, like I'll just mention that, hey, so I know XYZ, so you know
Okay,
what I
yeah,
know.
that's gonna
Yeah,
help.
yeah. So it's
So
fair.
what
Okay,
are
yeah.
your
Thank you.
yeah
Yeah,
yeah
yeah.
what are your
Thank you for.
general thoughts on Rebirth though, having played
Um,
Remake and now
yeah.
the OG?
So Remake, for those that don't know, Remake is a game that I have been a day one, like I guess you could call me a simp for that, because I love that game to death when it came out. Well, sorry, when I played it, because I played it when it came on PC actually. So I played it about 2 years late, but anyways, that's but because what do you call? And I love that game super much, and honestly, I'm not gonna lie. Before I went into Rebirth, I was worried. I was, because I don't know, but like it was just like it's weird. Like what, like whatever game I play, right, and I'm super hyped up for, I end up like it never lives up to the hype, and I feel really bad. I'm like, oh no, this is a dud. It's
I can think
but
of a few examples.
yeah, so I was worried that am I not gonna like Rebirth, because but I was worried for nothing, because when I played that game, I'm like it didn't even sink in that I'm playing Remake Part 2. Like I'm like, oh okay, yeah, I'm just gonna play this game, but I'm like, no, you're playing Rebirth Remake sequel. So like it
Yeah.
didn't set in until Junon for me, I would say. Like that's when I got
Okay.
really invested into the game, I'd say, personally.
Yeah, I think, yeah, I got to Junon like maybe the second day of playing, and
Hmm.
yeah, once I got into Junon and I realized that everything that I was doing in the grasslands is kind of expanded here in Junon, I was like, whoa, this is amazing. And like, I know we talked about this before we started. We're gonna try hard to not bring up Xenoblade, but here's my biggest comparison to Xenoblade with Rebirth.
Go
The
on.
the whole, like, I was saying, like, this game has everything I look for in a video game. Like, that is like a good story, great characters, great soundtrack, great open world, and like a boundless world to explore with so many things to do. And I think the best thing about it is all the things you do in the world, all the world building, all the side quests, all the world intel, all the things that you can do, even outside of the story, really help and benefit you in your progression in the game. So when I kept playing the game and kept doing new things, kept finding new mini games, kept finding new like ways to tackle situations and new enemies and new side quests, it really just kept me wanting to come back and play the game more, and I loved it. And back to the whole Xenoblade thing, Xenoblade is sort of similar in that way, in the sense that like the world is massive, the environments are really fun to explore, there's a lot of things to do around there, especially in like X and Future Redeemed, 3 as well. And what also reminded me of Xenoblade is in Rebirth, the map is like divided into regions, just like how Ionios was in Xenoblade 3. Very loose kind of comparisons, but it reminded me of one of my favorite video game franchises as well. So that was nice.
Yeah, and speaking of Xenoblade, make sure you see his video that why all Xenoblade are peak.
Oh yeah, yeah. Thanks for the shout out.
Yeah, no problem. Now, full transparency, I have not seen that yet, but just by that title, I'm like, that's gonna be a great video, and I'm definitely gonna watch it when I get the time. But yes, I'll get to it to like myself either. But yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so just to round out the general category or section of this podcast, I think this is objectively one of the best JRPGs that exists right now. Like
Oh
it
yeah,
hits
I think so too.
like it hits almost every checkbox for what I would consider to be a good game and even a good JRPG. Like good characters, good gameplay, good story, good music, good visuals. Actually, about that I'll speak to it in just a minute. And like like just fun gameplay and lots of like good fun side activities, and like which we'll get into more into the gameplay section. But yeah, but the only downside in this game I would say is the visuals. I don't know, they look worse than Remake. And I don't.
Yeah, I think it's I don't know, for me I never really noticed because I don't know about you, but I played the game 90, no, not even 90, like why 99% in performance mode. And why I say that is because like the last 3 days I was playing the game before I beat it, they had the visual performance patch that came out, so I used that. But even before that, I was playing in performance mode, and I thought it was fine, but also like that was just me not noticing much of the visual artifacting and all that. But that's
Yeah.
also me playing a lot of games on Switch, and I'm like fine with visuals like
Fair.
that. Honestly.
Fair. Yeah, I'm kind of spoiled. I tend to, play at like, I guess you could say I'm a PC elitist or something. But anyways, but yeah, but what do you call? I do know why the game looks bad. Sometimes, not all the time, but one, it's the lighting. It's not the best lighting because they are using like a older version of the Unreal Engine 4, which is the engine the game runs on. So as such, they don't have the new updates to the because remember, this game started in 2015 or 14. Yeah, I believe 14 is when the actually development started. So they probably were using UE4s from that time. And I believe the Remake and Rebirth share the exact same engine. I don't even think they updated it. I mean, sure, they probably made some tweaks, but like it should be overall the same engine as the 2014, version. So, there is that. And as for why the resolution is so blurry, I think it's purely because it's super open. Like compare Remake and
It's a
Rebirth.
huge game.
Yeah,
It's massive.
It's practically an open world. It's a seamless, you can go from one town to another seamlessly. So and I believe the PS5 is not even the PS5 is able to handle it. So that tells you that there's so much shit packed, like quality wise, or like in terms of details, sorry, not quality, that the game is going to have some performance issues, which is unfortunate, but it is what it is. And it's still a good game. Oh, it's still the great game, one of the greatest games. But yeah,
it's a small blemish in an otherwise phenomenal game.
Yeah, just a side note before we go to gameplay, I forgot to even talk about like mention or add music, but I feel like it's kind of like a common fact that, hey guys, the music is awesome in Final Fantasy VII. Like, end of story. Like,
yeah. For me, the music is amazing, and the reason I like. Me coming from the original and playing Rebirth, I recognize a lot of the songs, but I also like loved the way they kind of modernized them and made them like just bigger and better in a way. And I don't know, I really love that. And even a lot of the songs are original songs, and I really enjoyed listening to those and seeing how those fit into the world. And I think I just love when open world games have very like good music to accompany your exploration, and I think this game did that really well. Like the Corel Desert and Gongaga had a lot of really awesome music tracks, which I just loved. And I think in the state of play leading up to the game, they were saying that this game has 400 plus tracks in the OST, which is insane. And
Yeah.
I'm like I'm actually really wanting to go see the Final Fantasy VII Rebirth concert tour that's gonna be touring in like it's doing a world tour, so it's coming close to where I stay. So I'm definitely excited to go see that eventually this year. So yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I definitely want to try to get tickets. Hopefully, I can do that. But yeah, yeah. We can speak a bit more about the music a bit later on because we probably would want to get, or probably should talk about the the other stuff as well first. But yeah, yeah. As for music, I'll just keep it super brief for me. But like I said, it was super great, and it's basically like Nobu is a goat, and that's all I'm gonna say for right now. I'll speak more on it a bit later.
Uematsu is the goat. Even though he didn't have like a whole lot of influence on this soundtrack, a lot of the original tracks are his, and a lot of he had a lot of influence on some of the best songs in this as well. So yeah.
Alrighty. All right. So moving on to the gameplay section of this podcast. Yeah, but again, we'll try to keep this brief. I mean, we try to keep the general brief, but we've been a little over time, but that's fine. But yeah, because we want to get to the story aspect, which is the real meat of the podcast. But yeah, so first we'll talk about the core gameplay. Do you mind if I go first this time around?
Yeah, go ahead. Go right ahead.
Okay. So for the core combat, it's just a remake combat and slightly tweaked and improved. And honestly, that thing that's perfectly fine because remake had one of the most fantastic combats in any game. So, excuse me again, double burp. So the combat in this is super great. I like the synergy skills. They were a nice addition. Honestly, yeah, I kind of wonder why they were not in remake. The more I think about it, I mean, it does make sense, but I mean, it's nice to have it in here. It's better late than never. My favorite characters to play as were Cloud, Aerith, and Barret, and in that order actually. So I love playing as Cloud, and then Aerith, and then Barret, and I hated Kate Sith.
Yeah, I only know one person who enjoyed playing as Kate Sith.
Yeah, though surprisingly, he wasn't too much of a scumbag in this game compared to the OG. Like, hey, I'm going to hold Marlene hostage. So at least he doesn't pull that.
I was actually like curious to see if they're going to do something like that. And
but no, they didn't.
I was like, I mean, we'll get into that during the story. We can talk about that later.
True. Oh, yeah, sorry, I should have not brought that up, but okay, it's okay.
You're good.
I like that the game had a No, sorry. Before I say that, I like that the game had like it was harder, considerably harder than remake, because like this is coming from me who is actually bad at video games, because I tend to play on like easy mode, but I didn't have to do that for remake. Like on that game, like I pretty much played it normal, and I felt that game was a bit too easy. In fact, hard mode was actually where the real kick was at in remake. So Rebirth definitely makes this game a lot harder. I don't know the full specifics because I haven't looked too much into the combat that much deep, but from I believe Easy Allies and the Maximilian dude, because I listened to their podcast as well, because what they mentioned was that apparently MP and like magic spells are nerfed in this game, because in remake they were OP.
Yeah.
So, which I guess makes sense, because you barely get any ether in this game, and I'm like, bro, where's my like turbo ether? Because I had like because ether was more readily available in remake. So so yeah. And so speaking on the difficulty, like that there was a nice upward trend where in a lot of video games the start is easy, but then the middle section is hard, and then the ending is super easy because you unlock all the abilities. So
Mhm.
whereas in this game, I felt they had a good balance where the game actually becomes harder and harder. Now, yes, I know dynamic mode exists, but I don't know. I mean, like, I know I was a bit under leveled near the end, and even dynamic mode did not help me. So, yeah, this game, it's well, like, it's a very well balanced curve. Okay,
Yeah,
yeah, and what about
but
your thoughts?
I think like you said about this game just building off of what Remake was, I think that's very good. I think I think in terms of combat itself, the game has some significant improvements, like synergy skills and synergy abilities, obviously, which are really nice. Even though like synergy, the synergy stuff was sort of like sort of kind of introduced in the intermission with Yuffie in
Oh, it
Remake.
was. Oh, I didn't even. I
Yeah, yeah.
completely forgot.
The stuff you can do with Sonon is
Oh,
sort of similar to the synergy skills that you can do in Rebirth, and
I
then
completely
you
forgot
also
about
have
that.
the synergy abilities in there as well.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So
That
they
one I
kind of like
recall.
warmed you up to that in intermission, but I think it's so much cooler in um, Rebirth because you have synergy abilities with every single party member. Like there's a combination for every single party member. Like there's Barret and Yuffie, Barret and Tifa, Tifa and Yuffie, Tifa and Aerith, Cloud and Kate Sith, and like all the
And,
party
and
members
even
have like
Cloud
their own
and
thing.
Zack. Don't forget
Oh
that one.
yeah, 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 that too, which was pretty awesome. I love seeing that. But
Yeah.
I also this game like obviously brings back Yuffie from Intermission, who was one of my favorite characters to play as. And then you got new characters with Red 13 and Kate Sith, and even Sephiroth and Zack as well. So it was like the variety of different play styles is really nice. Like if you didn't feel like playing as one character, you could just play as another and have a whole different style of playing. And you were saying your top three favorites. It's funny because I wasn't too big of a fan of playing as Barret and Aerith, but near the
Ah,
end, I enjoyed playing as Aerith. I think Aerith is a lot more fun to play in Rebirth than she was in Remake because of her ward abilities and ward shifting. So that was a lot of fun.
oh yeah.
But my top three were in order is Cloud, Tifa, and Yuffie. I think Cloud and Tifa are tied because I really got the hang of playing as Tifa, and I got some of her really cool weapon abilities, like Star Shower, Unbridled Strength, Overpower. Like some of those were just really fun to use.
Yeah.
Like even near the end, she gets some really awesome abilities, and same with Cloud. It was just a lot of fun to play as those three, and then spamming the doppelganger ability as Yuffie came in handy quite a bit. So those
Yeah.
three are my favorites. They were always in my party, all three of them.
I actually did not play as Yuffie too much, but I realized that what the fuck, she is broken, or I believe she is one of the most broken characters because you can, like, she can do like the element, I think jujitsu or something, or spin jitsu,
Yeah,
where basically her regular attacks become the element attacks. Like, what?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
That came in. Like we'll talk about this, I guess I can talk about this now. There was one phase of the final boss. It was the second
Yes.
to last phase of the final boss where you
Yes.
have to take down like the wings of Sephiroth
I
Reborn.
Ah,
It
God.
was the most annoying thing ever because I was playing as Tifa and I was using Blizzaga or like Firaga or whatever spell I needed to hit,
Yeah.
and it just wasn't hitting because the wings were just going everywhere. The wings were flying everywhere. So what I ended up having to do was I had to like throw the ninja star with Yuffie,
And
zip up there with Yuffie, get airborne with her, and then use her elemental like banishment ability. And that was the only way I can take those things down. Because
yeah.
it was impossible to do with Red 13, and it was impossible to do with Tifa. But I found those things fun. But in terms of how broken Yuffie is, I found real quick. I found this cool build with Yuffie where you get this you use the enemy skill materia to get like this move called discharge.
Yeah.
So every time you like you send in your shuriken, and every time you go in and like zip up like and fight the enemy, every time your ATB bar fills, you do like a burst of like elemental electric damage, and it's like you're zipping in and just like it's fireworks everywhere.
Oh my
And everyone's
gosh.
like, that's the most broken Yuffie build. And if you do that with a doppelganger, you're just like your PS5 would crash.
Yeah, I remember glancing at the video, I think from someone. I don't know if it's the same exact one you're talking about, but I did remember them picking the, I think it was a joke point actually, that hey, your PS5 might crash.
Yeah.
Like, which I actually, what you're saying might have actually happened to some people. Like, what the fuck? What?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Luckily mine didn't, and even while playing Final Fantasy 16, luckily my PS5 did not crash.
Oh yeah. That I don't know. Yeah, mine didn't crash, but I know a friend of mine. He can't play the game. The game just crashes every 5 minutes. 16.
Damn.
But
That's unfortunate.
yeah, I don't know about that. But anyway, that's another topic for another day. But yeah,
Yeah.
speaking on the final boss, I will say, besides that very annoying section, which the wings change their element like every 5 seconds. Overall, I thought this boss was one of the coolest final bosses I've played. Like in a game.
Yeah.
I think
it was fun.
I think the only other one for me would be from Scarlet Nexus, and that's all I'm
Oh,
gonna
yeah.
say because I don't want to spoil for that game
Alright.
for it. But yeah,
I have that game on PC, so I'll play it eventually.
yeah. That game's final boss is also very spectacular and very cool in my opinion. But anyways,
I will say one thing about Rebirth's final boss is like at the end when you're fighting Sephiroth with, like, again, of course this is massive spoilers. We already warned you before, but you're fighting him with Cloud and Aerith. But that phase was very okay, very manageable, very fine, until the very end where he does this thing called the end is nigh, and he like charges up this giant attack, and at the end he will hit you with Octo Slash. And if he hits you with that Octo Slash, where he will grab you with the whispers and you're locked in, and you cannot escape from that Octo Slash in the end.
mhm.
What I had to do to finish that fight was I had to do 2 limit breaks on him. Meaning what I had to do is I had to do 1 limit break, like either cross slash or ascension, and then I had to use a limit siphon to take Aerith's limit break from her and get it onto Cloud and do a second limit break to defeat the final boss. There was no other way I would have done it, honestly.
Yeah, I'll be full transparent. I actually played the final section of the game on easy mode because I just wanted to, get the game over with because I was so curious
that's what I
about the
should have
ending.
done. Because
Yeah,
I wasted like an hour on that
no
part.
worries. But yeah. So speaking about Aerith, I will say before, one last thing here is that when Zack and Aerith showed up, I was like, what the fuck? It's like I was
Yeah.
like mind blowing, because
It was a pretty hype moment, I will
yeah,
say.
we'll speak on them a bit more in the story
Yeah.
section, but like them
I will say
showing up.
oh, sorry, what were you saying?
No, I'm saying we'll speak a bit more on Zack and Aerith and how and why they showed up in the story section, but let's just say that they shouldn't have shown up if we follow conventional, storytelling or conventional realism.
Yes, and I mean, even after what we saw in Remake, a lot of the stuff in this game is going to be vastly different, but we'll speak
Yeah.
on that in a bit.
Yeah.
I guess to round out the gameplay part, though, I wanted to talk about the world intel and the side quests. Because initially, I was a little concerned about how the world intel and side quests would be. Like, I thought it would just be filler, like, busy work, annoying stuff like that, right? It was actually a lot of fun, because, first of all, the world intel was fun to do, like, either, like, chocobo, excavation, finding the summon crystals, analyzing those crystals, following those birds to the life springs. Like, that, it was pretty simple, but it was fun, and it's different in each region because your chocobos travel differently, your chocobos behave differently. the region is different, the way you traverse the world is different, and I loved each of the different regions, how it was like it just felt different to explore each of them. So the world intel never felt repetitive in that way, because the way I was going about doing these things felt different because of how I was exploring. And what I liked about the world intel is the rewards were nice, because the more world intel you do, you might get more enemies in the Chadley database for the combat trials. You'll get more materia which you can buy from Chadley, which are like a really, really helpful materia, which like really help you throughout the quests and stuff. So that was amazing. And also like yeah, of course you get to explore a lot as well. And then one of the world intel things that you can do is the proto relic quest line, which in itself is just amazing, because you get to encounter and learn about and eventually fight one of the most iconic figures in all Final Fantasy, who's Gilgamesh, which is really cool.
Indeed.
And some of the later proto relic missions and stuff get really deep into like the lore of the game and even like the main story quests. So that was really nice. And speaking of main story, or sorry, like side stories and stuff, the side quests were also great, because like they were well written, they were fun, they were pretty diverse in some of the activities you have to do, and I like that each of the side quests were linked to another party member, so it builds the affinity level with your party members, which like leads you to eventually like go on dates with them in the Gold Saucer and stuff. But like it was a nice way to build like character relationships, which this game was all about. It was about the character relationships and everyone's relationships with Cloud, and I think the side quests did a really good job in that. And not only that, the side quests help like with your SP and your folio growth and all that stuff, so the party EXP and all that. So I think the gameplay flow overall was just really well designed and worked very well done in this game. So yeah, that's my final thoughts on the gameplay.
Okay, okay, I don't want to burst your bubble, but when I said wrap up my thoughts here, I meant for the core combat, not the gameplay section, because we were gonna get into the exploration side.
Oh, my bad.
It's okay. Yeah, because you kind of just like crash course the
I
other.
have less to talk about in that section, so
No worries, it's fine. Yeah, it's good so that we have more time for the other section. So like I'll just like crash course, because I don't have too much to say either, right? So no worries,
Yeah.
it's fine. But yeah, as for exploration, I love the open worldness. As what do you call remake was pretty narrow, which fits for that context, because you know it's. But anyways, but here you want the open worldness, and they actually went above and beyond, because they did not have to do that where it's like an open world, or no, it's more like. It's like Xenoblade, where it's like seamless. You go from one town to another town, and it automatically loads in. Like you don't unless you fast travel, like you don't have a loading screen whatsoever.
Yeah.
So
I don't know if you can go directly from one region to another.
you
But
can.
that was kind of like Xenoblade 3 was. It's not like Xenoblade X or Tears of the Kingdom, where you can like go from one side of the map to an. Actually, no way. Never mind. I'm
you
wrong.
can.
No.
Yeah, you can in post or like near the end of the
You can.
game when you unlock the
boat,
tiny
with
Bronco.
the boat,
Yeah,
you can. You're right.
yeah.
Yes.
But before that, you gotta go through like a hub, and then you gotta pay a ticket to go on a boat or whatever. Anyway, so yeah.
Yeah, where you have to fly with Sid.
Yeah. What do you call? Yeah. But I will say, like a lot of the proto relics and like the Chadley quests. Well, sorry, not quests, but like I'm blanking. What would you call those? Like those, like you fight the enemy or you get the intel and you like activate the
World
towers.
Intel.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, the combat trials and the World Intel.
Yeah. I won't lie, I kinda got a bit fatigued from them about like 2/3 or 3/4 way in. So like after that point I kinda just like I didn't like not do them. I did them if they were on my way, but I didn't go out of my way to do them, if that makes any sense. So like
Yeah.
because to be fair, I won't lie, I did get spoiled on something, so I'm like, okay, I gotta rush the story because I do not want to get spoiled. So I guess if you're curious what the spoiler is, and I'm not gonna say warning because you should not be here if you haven't played the game already. But I knew that Aerith, quote unquote, died, but I didn't know it was quote unquote, which we'll get into later on. But I knew that
Yeah.
that she dies in some form. So, which was unfortunate, but to be fair, not surprising considering it's Final Fantasy VII. But yeah, yeah. Yeah, so as for side content, I did not do too many side quests. I did do like a decent chunk, but not too many. Especially at the start, I did a lot of them, but not like near the end. But the ones I do remember, like I remember doing the one for like the guy in like the bartender, and I also remember like doing the side quest of like those biker gangs, those bandits. Yeah, those guys were. I mean, honestly, I don't know what the fuck was going on. Like, so Cloud basically lets them go. No, you give. Question: do you have to give them the 2,000 gil, or do you don't have to give them for the very first quest?
I don't remember what I did
Because I gave them the money, but I'm like, whatever, I don't care. But yeah, I wonder if it's like a forced choice where you have to pick yes eventually, like for a Yuffie. You can't pick no. But yeah, so what do you call but yeah, so they were cool. And how can we not talk about Queen's Blood? Not just spend too much time on that, but
just all the mini games in general were very, very like how do I say it? They went out of their way to make them super detailed and well designed.
Okay, I know many like Fort Condor, but that's also from Intermission. So, but my God, Queen's Blood, please. I need Queen's Blood DLC. I just wanna, and give us online where you get to play with other players. Like, that would be insane. Like, they can do that.
Yeah, I think they should make their, not even DLC, I think they should just make their own, like, Queen's Blood game you just buy on PSN, or on Steam, you just play it on your own. That would be pretty awesome.
That could be pretty cool. Yeah. So it's like a $15. Well, yeah, actually, I would pay $20 if I'm being honest, sir. I mean, that game's fucking awesome. But, anyways,
and I don't know if you saw this, but on one of the devs was talking that like in the development, like when they were working on this game, they have like a life-size like actual Queen's Blood board, and everyone's like, hey, like actually sell this. We would legitimately drop money and buy this.
Oh my gosh, that thing's gonna save Square Enix earning fails every quarter. Actually, yeah, because I believe they're not doing too hot as a company, considering they had to sell off their Western studios last year or the year prior. But anyway, that's going off topic. Yeah, the only last thing I wanted to touch upon in the gameplay section is a bit of the pacing. Was very happy that now I personally did not have issue with the pacing when I played Remake, but I know many people did, especially those that played the OG first. They're like, what the fuck is a 5-hour section stretching to 50 hours? Like, what the heck?
Yeah. So, I had a bit of the pacing in Remake, but it was mostly due to like one or two parts of the game, meaning like it was the train graveyard and the sewer section. Those were kind of annoying to me. Otherwise, the game was fine in terms of pacing.
Really, not like the Hojo's lab. I felt that was like a pain in. Like I remember from.
I remember people saying Hojo's lab was, but I don't remember it being that bad. The thing I found annoying near the end was the boss gauntlet. How you have to fight like 10 bosses at the end. I was just like, oh my god, can I just be done with the game already? Yeah, but yeah, going back to what you said, I think Rebirth handles it a lot better.
Yeah, they're still padding. I mean, like some sections do feel a little too big. Like the Temple of Ancients does feel like it stayed a bit like it's it overstayed its welcome, but I mean, it's not too bad, and the gameplay is fun, so not yeah, so not super negative.
Yeah, Temple of the Ancients was actually a very well-designed dungeon. I think a lot of the dungeons were very well designed, so in that way they didn't overstay their welcome in that way, except for the Kate Sith dungeon in Nibelheim Mansion, which was kind of annoying. That was my least favorite part of the game, honestly, but that's...
Oh, the Nibelheim. Yeah, I did not like... Oh, yeah, I forgot to mention about this, but yeah, but I did not like that boss fight. Like, that boss fight was not...
Yeah.
Fuck, man. That dude...
That whole section where you're throwing boxes was just not very fun, honestly.
Yeah. Alrighty, so now let's move on to the story section of this podcast, which I'm really excited for, so let's get started. So, Nishk, please tell me, what did you think about the characters in Rebirth?
I like them all quite a bit, especially since I was fresh off of the original Final Fantasy VII, so I was kind of refreshed on how all these characters are like and what their motivations and backstories are like. And what I noticed about this game, again, kind of similar to a game like Xenoblade 2, less than maybe 3, I equate it to 2, because this game is very, very character focused more than plot focused. I have heard a lot of people have some concerns with that. Concerns meaning like they're like, oh, not much happens in the story, like there's not much plot happening, and I think it's more of a character focused game. Like you have moments like Barrett's moment in Corel with Dyne, you have Red 13 / Nanaki's moment in Cosmo Canyon where he learns about his father. You have Cloud's moments throughout the story where he's interacting with these characters and doing side quests and getting closer with Tifa and like remembering some of his past with Tifa and getting closer with Aerith, building that bond with Aerith. So you get a lot of moments with these characters that really like hit home with you, and you really feel for them, and you are really rooting for them as well. Like, I think a standout was Chapter 9 when Tifa goes into the live stream and gets like some insight on her memories and what like her actual past back in Nibelheim was like. I really liked a lot of that, and I liked how this game is kind of subverting your expectations with a lot of what you might already know based on the events of the original Final Fantasy VII. So that's good. In terms of that, we'll talk about that more on the ending side of things, but I love the characters and I think they're great. My favorites in this game were Aerith, Barrett. Red 13 was good. I think his sudden change from Red 13 to Nanaki, that personality change was a little drastic, but I still learned to accept it and love it. And I love Cloud a lot more in this game as well. I just love the whole cast. I love them all. They're great. Yuffie was a great standout too, since she was actually optional in the original, so she got a lot of screen time and a lot of time to shine here. So yeah, what did you think about them?
Yeah, so I think each character was done pretty well. I like that because of this remake trilogy, so 1, 2, and 3. Because it's expanded, it's it's stretched out into 3 games. Each character, even side character and villains, are able to shine out. Because I'm not gonna lie, playing the OG now, everything feels kind of rushed. Like it feels like I'm watching an abridged recap of a game. So
Yeah.
Like some people argue that they should have just remade the game as one game and not done this expansion quote unquote BS. But I disagree. Like, sure, there is some downside to doing what they're doing now, but overall I feel like it's good because stuff like this, characters like I cared for Jesse, Wedge, and Biggs from remake, whereas but like you actually feel sad about their deaths. So
Yeah, and even in this game, there's a lot of callbacks to like things you never saw in Final Fantasy VII, moments with Jesse, Wedge, Biggs, and it was nice to see them back again, so that was good. Even though like they weren't in the present, it was good to see some of those memories that Barrett and Tifa had with them.
Yeah. What do you call I really enjoyed Cloud kind of becoming this emo phase. It's like Aerith is like just super sweet explaining some stuff, and Nikago's like, "Are you fucking done, bitch?"
Yeah.
I know he doesn't say the fucking bitch, but that is what he means to say.
Yeah, I always knew after remake and after playing the original, I knew that in this game, like Sephiroth has a little bit of different intentions and motives. We can talk about that later, but I knew that he was going to really, really, really like mess with Cloud in this game, and I really wanted to see that. Like a kind of meme I had with my friends and a kind of a joke was I was like, I want to see evil Cloud. And like I made the joke so far that I was like I want the final boss to be Evil Cloud, but
Oh God.
I can confidently say that I got Evil Cloud in this game in
Oh
many different ways,
yeah.
because you get Evil Cloud in the OG, but you don't see him like you do in Rebirth, and I really liked how they portrayed him in this.
Okay. This is going a bit on the part three prediction, but it's relevant to now. I think we're gonna see more Evil Cloud in part three, where he might be a boss fight.
You know why?
Why?
Because of the black materia that he put into his Buster Sword. Do you see how he did that? A
Oh,
lot of people
right.
think, a lot of people are assuming that's not assuming, but predicting it's going to be like a Venom thing where he'll have like some special different kind of abilities and powers that the black materia will give him,
Yeah.
which will like make him more of like a darker version of Cloud.
Yeah, I did hear that from. Yeah. I heard that the same thing, but we'll see. Yeah, I mean that would be pretty cool, but we'll talk a bit more about that in part three as well. I mean, when we get to part three section. But one thing I also thought was very cool, and I'm very very curious, is Aerith and Sephiroth being these hyper aware beings, where in the OG, they kind of just exist, but it's very much implied that at least one of the Aeriths from this game is like hyper aware and a time traveling freak. Well, she's not a freak, but I mean, but like what I mean, like the time travel.
Both Sephiroth and Aerith are like time traveling like
Yeah,
freaking
beings.
gods.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're very powerful entities in this world.
Yeah. And one thing that was made clear is that apparently, which to be fair, I didn't play the OG, so I wouldn't know this. But like, what do you call, Aerith is actually technically speaking the lead heroine. It's not Tifa. I mean, I assume that Cloud and Tifa like always end up together, but maybe not. Well, okay. Well, I mean, Aerith dying is Aerith and Cloud are not gonna like end up, but like she's supposed to be the one you root for, if that makes sense. Like she's the lead, like the she like Pyra from Xenoblade 2, basically. You could argue.
Yeah.
Actually, yeah.
Are we ready to get into the ending discussions now?
I think that's a perfect transition. So please, actually, can I go first actually on this, because I really want to say this my theory first.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so I guess that was a perfect transition to the ending. But so my theory, so first we'll talk about like different parts of the ending. So like Aerith, Zack, and then Rufus/Glenn. So first we'll talk about the Aerith part. So yeah. And so like where me and you will both say. But anyway, so okay, moving on to Aerith first. So I am a firm believer that Cloud is seeing two timelines, and he is not trading balls. He's not seeing some Force ghost or some live stream ghost, to be more specific. And there's a couple reasons why I believe this, and a couple reasons why disproves the theory that Cloud is being tricked. Well, okay, he could be being tricked. I'll get more into that, but I know that it's not some sort of like Genova being or like Sephiroth being.
Okay.
Yeah, it's or like a ghost of Aerith from the live stream. I think it's timeline, because number one, the Okay, to be simple, I'm just gonna call the Aerith we see at the end Aerith. It might not be Aerith, so just be aware. But it looks like Aerith, so I'm gonna call it Aerith. We see
You can
Aerith.
call her Aerith 2.
Sure, Aerith 2.0.
Yeah, and then the Aerith
Yeah.
that died, that we saw die, is Aerith 1.
Okay, sure. So we see Aerith 2 touch Red 13, and he
Yeah.
recognizes it. So that is number one.
Yeah, he feels it, yeah, because
Yeah.
he's in tune with the live stream, he's
Yeah.
in tune with the planet.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
that one, you can argue that proves that it's a ghost, right? Wrong. Because Cloud sees the doomed sky. If this was...
Yeah.
Okay, number one, if this was Genova or Sephiroth trying to fuck with Cloud, Red 13 would likely not, because Red 13 is not really Red 13 would not even like feel anything.
He doesn't have the S cells in him.
Yeah.
Well,
Yes.
he doesn't.
Well,
yeah,
he
I don't-
might, but probably not.
Yeah, because he was experimented by Hojo, but he's not the same as like a soldier.
No.
No.
But what do you? Yeah. So I think it's two timelines. Well, sorry. So the why I think it's two timeline as well is that because Cloud sees the doomed sky, like that, you could argue that he is being tricked by. But for both of these things to be true at the same time, I believe that it's timeline. Which, as for how and why, two theories. One, Aerith might have given it to him for to help them eventually save the day. That's very possible. Or number two, Sephiroth gave it to him because I believe, I don't remember exactly when he says this. It was either before or after he kills Aerith. He says, "You have been blessed by me." So that could be implied that he kind of gave Cloud this power. Now,
Yeah.
to be frank, I do want to make it clear. It is very possible that Cloud seeing two timelines, it could very well be Sephiroth trying to fuck with him, but he's still living two timelines. So, Sephiroth laughs and said, "Oh my gosh, look at you, she's fucking dead and you can't even see that." So,
Yeah.
so I do think that because remember, the lore, what Sephiroth told us at chapter 13, I believe, is that when time reaches an influx, it is split off. Some die, some live on. So, there's kind of infinite timelines, basically. So, logistically speaking, there has to be one timeline where Aerith is alive, where she does not die. And also the Aerith in Zack's timeline, which she's sleeping. Sorry. Slight off track. What the fuck was the beginning? Bro, Aerith fucking died, but I guess it was a fake out because she didn't die. Bro, when I played the game, I'm
that's when I saw the beginning, I was like, oh, Aerith is going to survive at the end because
yeah.
you can technically say that Aerith has died
Yeah.
in Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. But then when we got more of the Zack flashbacks, I was like, oh wait, she's not dead.
But bro, no.
What I really liked is the whole idea of this kind of confused me, and I had to go back and look into this after I beat the game. But I didn't understand how Aerith lost her memories. But I had to go back and remember that in the remake, when they defeated the Whispers, the Whispers took some of the memories that Aerith had, and that's why her white materia is transparent. And that's why she needed Cloud to travel to another world to get the white materia back for her. So Sephiroth sending them into another dimension was... I guess it was just kind of an opportunity for that to happen. And that was very interesting how that played out. Because in Zack's timeline, the white materia was still there, so she was able to deliver it in some way, even though that didn't seem to be the same Aerith because the stamp in that world was different from the stamp in Zack's world. So yeah, the stamp symbolism was also very interesting because I was a little confused when I saw all the different stamp breeds, the different dog breeds showing that it's a different world. And eventually I realized what it meant was how like a small little change in someone's actions could lead to a different outcome and a different world and a different multiverse.
Yeah,
Like if
it's the
Zack went to where Biggs was, that created the Pug timeline where that outcome happens. If Zack went to the church, it led to the Corgi timeline where you see Johnny with the Corgi. Or if he went to there was another thing that Zack does.
he
I
doesn't
can't
go
remember
anywhere.
it now.
He
Huh?
like he doesn't go anywhere, and he goes by the church, and Sephiroth sends him to like the time portal or something.
Yeah, that's the
Yeah.
one where you see Johnny's dog.
Oh, okay. Never
But
mind. Sorry.
yeah, and then there's the one where Cloud is sent back into like this world where you see another kind of stamp, and that's just kind of separate from the world that Zack has been a part of as well. So a lot of that is very. It was a little confusing, but the more you think about it, it's very interesting. I will say though, here's my Aerith 1 and Aerith 2 theory.
Sure, go on. Yeah,
Um,
go on.
I think it's a mix of both of Cloud seeing the world where Aerith survived and also Sephiroth realizing this and using that to play into his mental instability. So it's a little bit of both. I think because Cloud was able to kind of time travel in that way, he was able to experience that kind of world dimensional hopping in that way. He was like aware that he saved Aerith because we saw it too. We saw where Cloud blocks Sephiroth's sword, he pushes him away, and he saves him, or he saves her. But you see that kind of rainbow effect as well. And I think that's just kind of to indicate that this is a different world where the outcome was different and Aerith survived. But even when Aerith is dead in his arms, you can see like different flashes and different versions of Cloud where he's saying different things, he's reacting a different way, and different things are happening. Whereas the party is seeing only the outcome where Aerith is dead and she's bleeding out and she's dying.
Yeah.
And I think because of Cloud's already mental instability, the fact that he has this kind of reality in his mind that is not real, which you will also learn about more as you play the original, he is kind of seeing this other timeline, but also that ability to see that timeline is also reframing his memories and reframing his reality to the way that he wants. And that's what I really, really like about this ending, because the thing that I like most about the story of Final Fantasy VII is the whole idea that Cloud's reality is not like reality. Cloud is not experiencing what is really happening in the world. And once he comes to terms with all that, then he becomes like the better person, then he becomes more powerful and able to take down Sephiroth, and he's more in tune with his relationships with everyone else around him. So I think this is another like major factor into that, where when you see like the end of the game where they're getting ready to go up north, everyone is like, dude, Cloud is really messed up. Cloud is not accepting the fact that Aerith is dead. Cloud is not reacting in the way that he really should be reacting. And that's very, very cool. That's a very bold take, but it's a choice that I think makes a lot of sense based on like who Cloud is as a character. So I'm excited to see how they go more into that in part 3.
Yeah, it was very eerie that Tifa is out here like like I guess sad, like sad as if
Yeah,
she
she's like
lost.
crying
Yeah,
because Aerith is dead, and
and
Cloud is just
Cloud
like,
is like,
"Hey Tifa, let's go, let's go. It's
yeah.
let's move on. Nothing's really the issue
Yeah,
here."
and I believe she doesn't say a word to Cloud like after her death. Like she is silent, at least to Cloud. So
Yeah,
that
I think that
silence
is
speaks a lot.
yeah. That's one slight issue I had. There are times when you would expect the party to like be very angry with Cloud. Like in chapter 9 when he pushes Tifa into the live stream, he almost kills her. And you
Oh
would
yeah.
expect like Barrett punches him and he's like, "Hey, Tifa needs you right now." But you would expect them to be like, "Hey
Okay,
dude,
okay.
what the hell? Like what's
I
going on?"
don't think they actually saw him push Tifa. Tifa
Okay.
knows. I don't think I
Okay.
do not because if
Okay.
Barrett saw
Okay.
her, yeah, if Barrett saw that, he would flip out.
Yeah,
Like
but
he would go
even in
dying
chapter
mode.
13, like when you see like Cloud trying to get the black materia from Aerith, all Barrett says is like, "Hey Cloud, wake up, we gotta go, we gotta go."
I
But
I I do think they are kind of aware that because of no, they shrug it off as macro degradation
yeah,
because
yeah,
they
the
think
soldier
that he's
degradation,
a
yeah.
G soldier when he's an soldier because G soldiers degrade where Sephiroth, Cloud, and Zack, they are the superior soldier. Hehehe. So they will. Well, yes, technically you would count Cloud as a soldier because the Genoa cells, right? I mean, so anyways, like he's not. Yeah, like I don't know first class, but he would be soldier technically speaking. But anyways,
You
that's going to be off topic.
you'll see more when you play through Original 7.
Yeah, I did play Crisis Core, so I do know about that. But anyways,
Yeah, oh yeah,
but
so
yeah,
you know that like
yeah,
Zack was soldier first class, Cloud
yeah.
is just another one of those Shinra infantry guys.
Yeah, and it's not until Hojo came along, it's like, hee, good, good, good. Let me take these two young men for my experiment. Hee.
Yep.
Hojo
Yeah.
reminds me a lot of a Malthus from Xenoblade.
Yeah, Hojo is I would say an even more evil version of Amalthus, because Amalthus has things where you can sympathize with him in some ways, but
True,
Hojo is
true.
just like
Yeah, he's fucked
Hojo
in the
is
head.
straight up like no redeeming factors whatsoever.
Yeah, yeah. All right. So, is there anything else you want to say? At least on Aerith, and or shall we move on to Zack?
Well, I guess the one thing I can say is
Mhm.
there's a lot of people who were upset by how everything played out in the end, and the more I think about it, the more I can understand why they were upset. There's a lot of moments in this game where a really emotional thing happens and then immediately something else happens, which is kind of like a tonal shift. Like the whole Dine moment happens, Barrett and Dine have that moment, and then immediately Palmer is like slapping his ass in your face. and and like with the Aerith moment, the example I would give is like you see Cloud save Aerith, then you see Aerith as actually dead, and then you see so many versions of Cloud reacting in a different way, and you're just kind of confused. And then you're thrown into the boss fight, and then you see Aerith at the end of the boss fight, and you're like, "Whoa, what the heck is happening? This is so confusing. I don't know what's going on," and you don't have time to really like see everything play out and understand how
Okay.
it's all going.
To be
So
fair,
I understand in that way, but for someone who has played the original, understands how the original happens, and was going into this game expecting something like this, I think the way they pulled it off is very interesting. So I'm just very excited and curious to see how it's all gonna play out in part 3.
yeah, yeah. Me personally, I was really like, yo, this is super hype, because their goal was to confuse the living fuck out of the audience, which, hey, they succeeded. Like, no one really knows what the fuck that ending is all about. But,
Mm,
we have IGN making an explanation. Like, when has IGN made a lore
yeah.
explanation? Like, I don't remember them ever doing that. Like when IGN,
Yep.
when they do something like that, like, oh, okay. But I like it. because it's kind of brain fuckery. It just makes me excited, But so, but yeah, I really can't wait for part three. Super going to be super exciting, and yeah, so I guess we'll move on to Zack now. I don't have that much to say on Zack. I actually have more to say on Rufus slash Glenn. But as for Zack, I'll quickly say that Zack is alive. He at least for right now, he's not gonna die. Maybe at the end of part three is possible, but for right now, he's alive and like well. And how as for how he ended with Cloud, like at the final boss fight, what happened is so in one of the timeline where Zack decides where Zack was at the church. I don't remember which animal it references, but I do know that it's the one where Zack is at the church, deciding should I go save Cloud or should I go to Biggs.
Yeah.
So in that one, Sephiroth fucking appears and just sends him into the abyss. I'm like, oh shit, Sephiroth jump scare. So that I believe that Zack is the one that sees Cloud, and then helps Cloud.
Yeah, that is the Zack that sees Cloud, yes.
Yeah,
because,
so
he's sent into another world.
Yeah, so he was, but then after the fight, he goes to a doomed world, but then he gets saved by, and then after that, you have for the final boss, like you have, like he's a phase, and then what do you call, like in that church, I believe the meteor is summoned, and destroying, but he gets saved. I believe. I believe it was by the white materials. If I could be wrong. And then he gets sent to a portal, and then he ends up in a good timeline, which I actually believe that is the Rebirth timeline or the main timeline for Rebirth. So that's my prediction.
Okay.
So, and I believe he will be permanent party member for part 3.
In part 3, because cool.
Yeah, they mentioned that. I wonder if timelines can reunite, because Zack straight up said that. So I'm like, okay, so clearly, if he's not in Cloud's timeline right now, or the main line, fuck, I said it again, main timeline, I think he will go there eventually. And yeah, that's pretty much what I have for Zack. I'm very excited to play as him or see more of him. And hopefully he lives, but I don't think he will live by the end, but we'll see.
For me, I like Zack quite a bit in this game. I just wish we got more of him. I was expecting to see more of Zack in this game.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And it was still like nice to experience his story and see what he was doing and all that. I think a lot of Zack's purpose in this game was just to set up the existence of a multiverse and how the multiverse is gonna work. And I think that also plays into maybe a slight downside into Rebirth, because a lot of people are like, this game sets up so much but has so many unanswered questions, so part 3 is gonna have to be literally the biggest game ever, because it's going to have all of the original FF7 story beats plus all of these questions about Zack, the multiverse, the whispers, timelines, Aerith.
I think in part, sorry to cut you off, but I think in part 3, okay, so going a little bit but going a bit ahead, but I'll just quickly say this right now because it's relevant. I don't actually know if they're going to do all of, I mean, to be fair, I don't know exactly what happens, but I do know that we go to at least Wutai, and we go back to Midgar, so I'm aware of that, and then we go to the Northern Crater, and of course Rocket Town has not been introduced yet. So I think we'll do those the major plot points, but again, the way it's set up, I think it's gonna be like the Avengers Endgame, where it's kind of super fast, super some slow moments, but it's gonna be relatively fast paced, which I think they're gonna have less padding because they're gonna have lots of shit to cover anyway, so can't waste too much time. So it'll that's a positive.
Banger after banger.
I'll go on. To your thoughts.
No, I was just saying that's one slight downside I have where there's gonna be like a lot of stuff to cover in part 3, but I think I think by the end of part 3 everything will be pretty well handled. Yeah. But yeah.
Sorry, I was just chewing. Okay.
Oh no, you're
Yeah,
good.
yeah,
But
yeah,
yeah, as
yeah.
for
Go on.
Like more on Zack, I think it was I just loved seeing him at the end. I loved seeing all the Crisis Core callbacks. I loved seeing him and Cloud do the like I loved how they both quoted Angel at the end. That was very iconic and I love that. But
Wait. Oh wait. Oh, right, right. The embrace your honor as soldier. That one, right?
yeah,
That quote.
that was them quoting Angel. I you can kind of like get into like, oh, how does Cloud know what he's talking about, or how does Cloud know that? But I also think like there's a lot of backstory of Zack and Cloud that we still haven't seen yet, and which
Yeah,
Crisis Core didn't delve into as much.
yeah. They could
So
have.
that's something I really hope they go into in part 3, talking about like, hey, this is what we were like back in the day. This is why we consider ourselves to be such close friends. So
I'm
that's
gonna.
yeah.
I'm gonna be completely real with you. I don't think we're gonna get any of that. If
Oh
Zach is a
boy.
permanent party member, we'll probably get us like a couple side stories or yeah. But I think what they should have done is when they remade Crisis Core, I think they could have expanded that a little bit. Not done like remake where you change everything, but like just expand it, make it like add more scenes, add more context. Because Crisis Core is a PSP game, which if you know, as you know, PSP games are, they have to be small size because they have to fit on the small disc. I think they call the UWP or something. I don't remember the exact name for the PSP cartridges or game discs. But so I believe this is according to I think either Night Sky Prince or Max. I don't recall. It's one of them. Sorry about that. But they mentioned that a lot of stuff was cut from Crisis Core, and one major thing was the bond between Cloud and Zack. Like they cut
Yeah.
just scenes, which you go like, what the fuck? But I feel like it's a missed opportunity. They could have added that, and because I do not think we're gonna see too much about their relationship. We're gonna have to assume that these guys are besties, and we have to take their word for it. We won't be able to see it. We're gonna be told that if effectively is because there's a lot of shit to cover, as you mentioned. So they really, I feel like that's the one thing that's gonna get axed from the cutting board.
Yeah, that's slightly unfortunate, but I'm still curious and excited to see how Zack would interact with Cloud more, being more present in the game.
Okay.
We'll
All
see.
right. Yeah. Alrighty. Now let's move on to Rufus slash and Glenn. So I have a lot to say, but I want to hear if you have anything to say first before I go on my ramble on this.
Interesting, you have a lot to say about
Yes.
this.
Yes, I do actually.
Um, I'm curious if you're going to go in the direction of Glenn potentially being revealed to be Cloud's father. Otherwise, I thought it was interesting that they brought a character like Glenn back. I have not played the mobile game Ever Crisis, so I don't know much about his character, but I've heard a little bit about him and like his role in the story and all that. I think it's cool. I think it's cool that they brought him back, but I think his entire kind of role in the story is basically just to show like, hey, I'm trying to get Sephiroth, or I'm trying to get um, Rufus to start a war again. I'm trying to get him to like go back up against Wu Tai and start a war. So I think in that way he fulfills his purpose, but I don't know. I think Rufus as a character is very interesting. I think after this game, I think I appreciate Rufus as a character a lot more, especially since in Junon you have that moment with him where he's like, "Hey, I'm willing to side with you guys and work with you guys to take down Sephiroth because we have a common enemy in this. So how about we work together in this instance?" So in that way, I liked it. So what are your thoughts on all that?
So okay, so before I go with that, just on that itself, I was pissed at Yuffie. I'm like, Yuffie, what the fuck is wrong with you?
Oh yeah.
But anyways, yeah.
That was fun.
But anyways, yeah. So back to the topic. Okay, so yeah, I have a lot to say, but yeah, it's surprising. So first, you mentioned if you think I think Glenn is a father of Cloud, probably not. That was actually not even on my list. I or sorry, on my notes, not list. That's more of like the Dirk is Mithra's child.
Oh, the Mithra's kid, yeah.
Yeah, that's in the same vein. I mean, look, unlike the Dirk thing, because that would have been revealed in the art book, which they didn't, so it's probably not.
Actually,
okay.
I mean, I don't want to derail the conversation too much, but also, never mind. I won't say anything because you said you didn't want to be spoiled by the art book, so never mind.
Oh, okay, sure, it's fine. No worries. But yeah, what do you call fuck, I lost my train of thought. Right.
Glenn being Cloud's father.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. So, yeah, I don't think he's a father, but it's not impossible, but very unlikely. I feel like there's a 5% chance. So could happen, but nah, it's probably not.
Another thing is, based on that final scene we saw, looks like Glenn is still dead. Like, I think he did die in Ever Crisis or First Soldier, so he's still dead. It was just Sephiroth taking his form just to kind of manipulate Rufus.
Yeah.
Which I think it worked, in a way.
Yeah. So why... Okay, so now going back to the whole Rufus... Yeah, so going back to Rufus, actually... So here, I'm just gonna drop the bombshell first. Rufus, I don't know how much you know of this, so I'm curious to see your reaction.
I think I know where you're going with this.
Rufus might be the leader of Avalanche.
Yeah, Rufus is responsible for the funding of Avalanche because way back before even like the Nibelheim incident and all that. Before Crisis Core, he was funding the Avalanche project to find a way to indirectly take down his father so he can take the throne of Shinra Corporation.
Yeah, so what happened? So yeah, and this makes sense because if you recall in Remake, Avalanche is not the same as the OG. In OG, I believe it was just Barrett's, like Barrett's gang. But in Remake,
now there's different factions, and you see that in Intermission as well. Because like you see like the Avalanche that Yuffie is working with, and then she's like, "Oh, can I talk to these guys? Can I talk to like these people here?" And they're like, "No, they defected from HQ. They're not working with us anymore." Because they're the ones who like blow up the reactors. We don't want to be a part of that.
Yeah, and so that would make sense because while HQ would not want to be part of blowing up reactors, because Rufus, hey, if reactors are fucking gone, there's no city for me to take over. So he would be against like his father, but he wouldn't be against the bombing missions. So that makes perfect sense. And again, he tried to make the deal with Cloud. So which again shows that, hey, I really don't care. In fact, I'm actually happy that because of Cloud, I got to be the throne somewhat indirectly or something. So yeah, and now his the only one in his way is like what do you call Sephiroth, because Sephiroth destroys a planet. There would be no Shinra company to play. Yeah. So in a way, going a bit about the part.
Also, like, Shinra themselves somewhat feel responsible for what Sephiroth has become.
Yeah,
But I mean,
but that's
like
not until
a smart
Advent Children,
people
though. I
in
mean,
because like oh yeah, Advent Children is very interesting because in that Rufus is vehemently against
oh,
Sephiroth and
bro,
Vidage specifically.
bro, Rufus in Advent Children is like the fucking like I love. He's like a good son would have known. And I'm like, yo,
Yeah,
that
Rufus
is
is like almost a completely different character in Advent Children.
not
It's
even just
very
him. Like the Turks are. Like the Turks were okay. No, they were from Crisis Core, but like they were assholes in the OG from what I can see. But in remake and yeah, from Crisis Core onwards, they became a lot nicer, or like more
yeah.
human. I
The
mean
thing
to
about
say,
the
not
Turks
nicer.
is I like to compare them to
Like bad
they're
cops
sort of
or
like your
something.
Team Rocket or even like
Uh,
the Torna organization of base Xenoblade 2 minus Jin and Malos. They're kind of like goofy characters who are like likable, but they're still antagonists. But most of them are just doing it because it's their job. They're not
yeah.
actually like evil bad people. Like Elena isn't bad. Song is like actually a very sympathetic person who Aerith actually likes
Yes, but
and Aerith appreciates.
and he slaps the OG. I'm glad that they did it in the remake as but yeah, but anyway, but yeah, and yeah, going back to Rufus, what do you call? Yeah, I have another bombshell though. This one is even more insane. I wonder if you know about this one. You might have. So, the second bombshell is that I believe he is Viceroy Sharoof as well.
Oh,
AK.
I think that's also confirmed in another like game as well.
Oh wait, it
The
is okay.
no, I wouldn't say it's confirmed, but like I think it's implied in like the same way that I think it was before Crisis,
Okay.
the mobile game before Crisis. That's where it hints that he is the
You
like
mean
person
first?
funding Avalanche,
You mean
but
first
also
soldier? Because like Ever Crisis is some or before Crisis is something else or.
no. I think yeah. Before Crisis is like the very old mobile game. I think
Oh, okay.
that's
Sorry,
where
sorry.
it establishes that he is funding Avalanche and he is sort of this Viceroy Serif character.
Yeah, and which is insane. So this motherfucker is a leader of Wutai and Shinra. But anyways, I can see the evidence because if you recall, Glenn straight. So yeah, so okay, so let's just back up a little bit and look at a timeline. So Glenn shows up as a ghost. Glenn, aka Sephiroth, shows up as a ghost, in the face of Glenn to Rufus. And then he says some bullshit, and then Rufus becomes pissed. So he's like, "Hey, let's fire the cannon." So he fires the cannon, which triggers a peace mate or like a peace treaty, which kind of like, which I believe is like starts a war or something between them. Like,
Mhm.
so then Glenn goes like, "We the people of Wutai are gonna start war." Which remember, this is Sephiroth. This isn't actually Glenn, but Sephiroth is I believe he's one of the higher admins, not the leader, but he's like one of the higher ups of Wutai. And then Viceroy Sharoof does not show up on TV, and I
Oh yeah,
believe the
yeah.
camera cuts to like Rufus. I believe so. I could imply that it's trying to see Rufus' reaction,
No,
but it's also
I don't think it cuts to Rufus, but
no, it doesn't.
like
Oh,
Rufus is
I thought
watching
it
it
did.
from like the Shinra like office, and they're like,
Oh, okay.
"Hey, what's going on?" And Rufus kind of knows, like, "Hey, I think that's me," but he just doesn't like confirm it himself.
Yeah,
He doesn't speak up about it to like Scarlet and
yeah,
Heidegger and everyone else.
yeah. I mean, what the fuck would he like?
Yeah,
but the,
yeah,
but yeah.
exactly.
So this okay, this could be very interesting because it could be that Rufus might straight up end up being like I'm trying to see trying to compare it to like another yeah yeah I guess Xenoblade could be a comparison, but I don't know what to compare it to from Xenoblade. I guess maybe Egil, sort of, where like he, like I think Rufus is going to become a good guy, or at least a net
Yes, I
positive
think
in
Rufus
part
is
three.
being set up as an anti-hero.
Yeah. Perfect. You took the words out of my mouth or my thoughts. Sorry. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, and yeah. Plus the conversation with Glenn, yeah, shows that that hey, maybe if you didn't do X, Y, Z, like if you didn't, like, if you spent more money or something, that he would have showed up. So it's like, bro, you are fucking Roof, you are Viceroy, Roof is in the name, Roof.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, which honestly, I'm not gonna lie. Initially, I didn't give a shit about this or Glenn, but the more I pondered about the ending, while about the whole Aerith stuff is very intriguing, but I think I'm more excited about Rufus. I think it's just
Interesting.
because I was a
You're the
Rufus
first
fan.
person to say that, but
Yeah.
I will say this.
Uh-huh.
I think Rufus is set up to be a much more interesting character, and I think I think Rufus overall in this remake and rebirth continuity is a lot cooler of a character than he was in other iterations.
Yeah.
So I think, yeah.
Yeah, it's also because I just really liked him from Advent Children, so it's like, but to be fair, I didn't play the OG at that when I saw Advent Children, so I didn't have the full context of like how he actually was at the start. But from going off of that, I can tell that hey, he become this cool guy, so I can kind of root for him. So, excuse me, but but it just really like this is a Xenoblade level of twist. It's like oh. I am Avalanche leader and I'm the leader of Wutai. Like, bro, what the fuck?
Yeah.
That fits in Xenoblade. Like that's that type of
Yeah,
twist.
I think they're really hyping up this Wutai War to be something pretty like big. So I'm excited to see how that turns out.
I think, but regarding that, I think that's gonna be big, or it's gonna be important. But I believe it's gonna happen in the background, where like for a good while of the story, like our party is gonna be in like Rocket Town, for example, and what do you call it? Then we have this like war going on, which honestly, I mean, okay, what if? Okay, this is me saying on the spot from my ass. What if Rufus is a party member or a playable? Not party.
That's gonna happen, especially like with if Zack is gonna come back, they're gonna expand Zack. Then we're gonna have Sid and Vincent.
True. Okay.
The only thing I see Rufus being a part of
DLC?
is
DLC like for Yuffie was? No,
I don't think so. I think
okay.
he's just gonna be part of the Wutai War stuff. And another thing is Rufus has still a lot of stuff involved in the original Final Fantasy story, like Final Fantasy VII story to do as well. Like I don't know if you know much about the huge materia, like
I don't know about that.
within that.
No.
So he has a lot of he has a lot of stuff to do within that as well. So I don't see him becoming a party member in that way.
Oh well, one can wish. Anyway,
We'll see.
no
We'll
worries.
see. I do agree with you that he's a lot cooler of a character though. So yeah,
fair enough. All right. Okay. So anything else you want to talk about the ending before we move on to part 3 of predictions?
Part 3. I'm trying to be careful with what I say about part 3 because you haven't played it yet, but I will say there's a very important scene in part 3 that I am very, very, very excited to see. It's basically like I would say it's the most important scene in the whole story of Final Fantasy VII. It's kind of
is it the live streams?
Yes, it's the live stream scene where Cloud has the resolution. It's Cloud's resolution where he like understands who he really is, what his goal is, and like what his past truly was. I know it's going to be very different because not only is he going to reconcile with his past in the sense that, hey, I'm not who I think I am, I'm not Zack, I am Cloud, but I think it's also going to be a lot of him coming to terms and accepting Aerith's death as well, because right now he's like not in that mindset. He doesn't really truly believe that she's dead. But I think in that live stream segment we're going to get flashbacks to when he buries her and like places her body in the water, and a lot of those like pretty important moments for his character where he understands and accepts, hey, she's dead, I have to move on. So, and it's going to be portrayed very differently because a lot of that sort of happened with Tifa already in chapter 9, and a lot of that is kind of different in chapter 11, where he goes back to Nibelheim, and being in that area reminds him of how things were before, and he's like, oh shit, like I was here with Zack, and Zack was here when all this happened, oh my god. But he's not remembering it the right way. So it's going to be portrayed and presented in a very different way, and I'm very curious and excited to see how they pull it off. I'm also very excited for the weapon fights, because the weapon fights are going to be insane. Probably not on the level of like icon fights from 16, but they're going to be going to be insane, because like the weapons are the weapons. So
okay, I'm curious to see what these weapons like fights are, because I have heard about these from other people that these are hype, so let's see what happens. But yeah, okay, so I guess I'll say my predictions now, because I do have quite a few. So I'll just quickly brief up like about the gameplay ones, like really fast, like speedrun style. So I think they've built the groundwork for a very nice seamless open world in Rebirth, so they're going to obviously expand that, and I believe that, I could be wrong, but you do get a plane to fly, right? That you can like at the end, like in the end of OG or something, or so you can travel across the map via plane, right? Or am I tripping?
Wait, say that again?
So in the OG, is there a point where you get to fly around, right? Like in a plane or something?
You're going to get the high wind, and that's confirmed by the devs that we will get the high wind, and the high wind will like be kind of like our airship. It's gonna, the way I see it is, it's gonna be like a Skell in Xenoblade X, but not as cool. But it's still gonna be really cool, but it's not going to be like, you're not gonna be able to do combat in the Skell. I mean, sorry, in the high wind and stuff.
Yeah,
like you could in the Skell. But it's gonna be really cool, because like I'm just very excited, because it's going to be air travel in the game, and it's gonna be fun.
It's basically gonna be like Final Fantasy 15, because like the Regalia like gets an upgrade which becomes a plane, so it's gonna be like that essentially. So that's gonna be pretty cool in that sense. So a couple of things like I already listed. Yeah, so we know Vincent, Sid are gonna be playable, and I believe Zack will be. Now maybe not Rufus, but I wholeheartedly believe that Zack will be a party member. That's my prediction, where he'll join the party. And I actually think that Aerith, she's not going to join the party, but you will definitely get to play as her.
Yeah, Aerith's still going to be playable. Cause like, especially like if we play it as her in the final boss, that's a very big hint that we're going to be.
Yeah. What do you call like maybe like a scenario I can think of is like you have a dungeon which you have Cloud alone, and he thinks Aerith is with him, so she's with Cloud, and you basically control her, and you can, I guess, set her materia whatnot for that time being. That could be insane, but let's see what happens. Yeah, part 3 will be different, which I mean we already know from the OG. And I'm curious to see about how the black materia will play, because Cloud does not tell the others. And I believe I mentioned this earlier, but we're gonna see a Cloud boss fight where he has like a real emo phase or edgy phase. Like
I really hope so.
Yeah, that'd really be pretty cool.
Fight evil Cloud.
Yeah, and this is going into the more speculation type territory now, but I feel it is possible that in the end, maybe the final boss may not be Sephiroth, but be Genova, where Okay, I'm not gonna say the spoiler character in Xenoblade, but you know what I mean. There's one character that's like, actually, psych, I'm in control of everything, ha ha ha, from the start.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes, so there could be that type of moment, but I don't know because Genova has
I mean,
never really been a
I'll
character.
just let you play the OG on your own because
Okay, all right.
most of what Sephiroth is doing is like a lot of Genova stuff. So
Actually, if I'm correct, I do know that at some point in time, it was Sephiroth that actually has control over Genova. It's basically initially it's the opposite, or because I saw like
yes,
because I saw like a
yes,
mhm. Oh,
yeah, sort of, but
okay.
I think a lot of what Sephiroth's goal is in this game is going to be very different. So I do think that is a possibility, where Sephiroth is trying to kind of merge the worlds to become like one in that reunion, but he still wants to be a god and destroy the world with meteor, right?
Yeah.
I think if Genova comes in the way of that, he will probably want to kind of counteract that and go against Genova.
Yeah.
So maybe I think the chances of Sephiroth teaming up with us are higher than someone like a Rufus,
Oh
but we'll
my
see.
god, bro. Okay, I was gonna talk about that in a minute, actually. But yeah, no, it's fine. But yeah, the my other wild theory is oh, actually, it's not mine. It's I gotta keep track of easy allies, but I believe it, so it's wild. It's probably not gonna happen, but it could happen. Where like due to the timelines and such, there probably exists one timeline where Sephiroth he successfully kills Cloud and the gang, right? But he does not succeed in his plans. Maybe Genova at the end goes psych, and then this Sephiroth is like, oh fuck, I do not win at all actually. So this Sephiroth, after seeing what actually happens if he successfully kills Cloud, we have a good Sephiroth. Out of by good I mean he's still like yeah, he'd be like Torna now. Basically
Yeah.
Torna.
I don't want Sephiroth to be redeemed, but I want to see him like
Help us
I
and like
want to
die.
see him fulfill his own motives in a way.
Hmm.
So we'll see.
Yeah. So but I don't think he's gonna be a party member. Like if this is true, he'd be here for a boss fight like Zack was and Aerith at the end. Like yeah, like maybe a boss fight or two, but yeah, he wouldn't stay permanently for sure. Or I could be wrong. I mean, it could be some wild fuckery like, hey, post game you can play a Sephiroth. That'd be insane. But that's where Nexus mods exist on PC. Yeah, those
Yeah.
those will be wild where you get to play as Sephiroth and Zack anywhere, like when Rebirth comes to PC. But yeah,
Yeah.
so like the only evidence for this Sephiroth being good or this not evil Sephiroth anymore is that in remake at the end where you go to the edge of creation, it could yes. So sorry, Sephiroth asks Cloud, "Lend me your strength. Let us defy destiny together." We all assume that he's straight up bullshitting and trying to trick Cloud, right? Like that's the current
Yeah,
assumption.
yeah.
But what if this isn't
What if he's
evil?
telling the truth?
Yeah, he's like, please lend me your strength. We have to, But obviously, in character, he's not going to beg Cloud. He's going to be himself, because he is still Sephiroth at the end of the day. So, and he's like, lend me your strength. So he's asking Cloud to listen to him and help him out, and then Cloud's like, never. So, and he says 7 seconds till the end, which I don't know what the fuck that means. I think it's 7 seconds till he casts Meteor or something, but that's what. But
I'm
you
not
might know
sure
bit,
about. Yeah.
you might know a bit more on that.
One cool Easter egg my friend realized is that when you're fighting him in the final boss, like in the final fight,
Hmm.
it takes him when he starts charging up Octo Slash, it takes him 7 seconds to load up the Octo Slash, and like attack heap. That's also because Octo 8, but I think because my friend told me like his hint for the final boss was like 7 seconds, and I was like, oh, what? Is it gonna call back to that remake moment? And he was like, oh no, when he does Octo Slash, just wait 7 seconds, and then you can like figure out how to counteract it. I was like, oh, okay.
Okay, it's interesting. To be fair, yeah, me on easy mode, I didn't pay attention to this. I was just like, spamming the attacks and like evading. So, but yeah, but okay. In my defense, I'm gonna replay the game because I'm gonna play the OG Crisis Core, Before Crisis, Dive the Cerberus, Advent Children, and then I'm gonna play Remake and Rebirth again. So I'm gonna replay the game. So, and I'll play on dynamic mode this time around. But yeah. What do you call? Let's see. What else I want to say on this topic? Oh yeah. Sorry, this isn't my original thoughts from Easy Allies again and Maximilian Dude, but what they believe, and I can get by this, is that we might see some Advent Children footage, like, because I believe they have never specified that Advent Children is a sequel to Remake. They have always said it's connected. For all we know, Advent Children could take place before, which has been the presumption that this Sephiroth and Aerith are from a timeline or from the future where the end, Advent Children happens. So there could be some sort of tie-in, like, and this would be a good way, in my opinion, to like not have to remake Advent Children, which I don't think they were going to do that anyways, but I don't know, it could just be cool to tie it all together.
Yeah.
Like, and have like
another cool callback to Advent Children is the disease in Advent Children is called geostigma, which is like negative emotions within the world, like Genova's negativity that is lingering still will feed onto the people who are feeling those negative emotions, and they'll lead to geostigma, right? That's what Sephiroth says something about that in this game.
Oh, he does.
Where he says those negative emotions will lead to like the corruption of the worlds and the fracturing of the world. And when you see like the fracture in the sky, it's because like negativity and the negative emotions are leading to something like that.
Right. That's why the world Zack is in initially. Elmara says that everyone knows that we're gonna die because everyone accepts their fate. So the negative emotion. Right. I got it. Okay, that makes sense.
I think that's also kind of a reference and hint to Advent Children.
Yeah. And I would love to personally see us have the Advent Children Buster Sword. Like, that is cool as fuck. Like, the sword which like goes into 7 pieces.
Oh yeah, it's really, really cool in Advent Children.
Yeah, like just like even if it's not canon, like, just have it as like a cool side quest that you unlock. It's hard to do and it's OP as fuck. Like, that'd be cool, I think. All right. Can we move on to the questions, or do you have anything else to add about part 3?
Yeah.
Alrighty, this has been a great podcast so far, and we're doing good on time. Just under 2 hours below in terms of recording, so great. Alright, so I guess I'll say the question and then you can go first, and then like I'll say my thoughts. Okay. So the first question is asked by GT Alpha, and he says, what was the lowest point of the game, like the part that you did not like?
That's an easy part for me. It was the Kate Sith part in Nibelheim Manor, where you're throwing boxes. That part was not fun, but luckily it didn't last very long, and once it was done, so that's good.
Okay.
Yeah, that was not my favorite part of the game. I did not have a good time with that.
Yeah. Me too, but I want to give a different answer, or so I'll say like another part as well. I'm gonna be honest. I think the Temple of Ancients was a bit too long. I just felt like we got separated, and then it goes back and forth between Aerith and and Cloud. What really annoyed me was that because I kept switching my materia, and there was no way to like load in materia. Like it'd be nice if you could save like a profile. So like, hey, like this materia or like this setup. No, you have profiles, but you don't let you save materia on. So like you can easily transfer like materia from like one profile to another. So you know, so you don't have to constantly manually move one back and forth. That would be nice, but that's not a, could be added in a patch, probably not. But so that made that whole section annoying because you gotta switch back and forth between Cloud and Aerith, and it was long too.
Yeah, I think whenever Dungeons did that, when they did the whole switching back and forth, that was a little annoying. When any dungeon in the game did that. Yeah, with the party members. Yeah, but overall, like, Temple of the Ancients was still good though. Like as a dungeon, I still really enjoyed it gameplay wise, but I think that was an annoying part. But my least favorite dungeon was Nibelheim Manor with Kate Sith. That was annoying.
That was weird. It's like, hey, please find a code. It's right behind like a dumpster. Like,
yeah.
What? Oh, I felt that was a little undercooked or like a bit rushed, but it's whatever. I mean, it's like minor. Okay. Let's see. So the second question is by Mwamba Matt, and he asks, how many new timelines there are now with Zack and Cloud? Oh. So now I believe from our speaking we actually have a different answer. So how about you go first for this one?
I think there are infinite timelines because as we saw in this game, every small choice leads to another timeline being created. Like if Zack goes in a different direction, there will be a new timeline that is created. So I think there are a whole bunch. There's at least 5 that we see in the game, if not more. But I think that whole Zack section was just there to show you that even the smallest like change in the flow of events and even like a small difference in decision could lead to a whole new timeline being created.
Okay, you actually said the unexpected answer. I assumed you were going to say something like 5 or 7, but no. Yeah,
I think there's infinite timelines. I think there's a whole lot more than just like 5 or 6 or however many.
So that is also but my answer. So, like technically speaking, there's infinite timelines. However, when it comes to the ones that are relevant for us right now, I'll just list those out. So we have the one. So we have the OG timeline, which is the OG story plot, completely unchanged, and I don't think we're going to be changing that too much, or which that we know is a timeline because the OG game exists, guys. The second timeline is the Rebirth timeline, which is with the different events. The third timeline is going to be one where you have Zack and Cloud unconscious. But I think that time is going to end with Meteor being casted at some point in the future, so that one's not going to last. And the other one that's relevant is the one. Sorry, when I spoke about the Rebirth timeline, there's 2 of those. One where Aerith lives and one where Aerith does not live. My apologies. Forgot to mention that. That's very significant. So 2 timelines where one she lives, one she does not. Another one where you have the doomed one with Zack, or the former Zack timeline, because he's no longer there anymore. And then the interesting thing is that where Zack currently is, he could be on a new timeline. That's completely possible. It wouldn't surprise me, but I believe he is in the one that our main or the Rebirth is. So one of the Rebirth ones. So
he'll reunite with them eventually in the game.
Yeah, and if not, then he will merge there eventually at some point. Okay, I'm going to take a quick step back to part 3 prediction because I forgot to say one of the most important fucking thing. So, going back to part 3, what do you think, how do you think the end is going to play out of part 3? Here, I'll just quickly say this, for me, I think what's gonna happen at the end of part 3 is that like Sephiroth is going to successfully merge all timelines, right? But that and then we're going to go into like this, edge of creation or whatever, time space area. And then because all timelines are one for the time being, if we kill Sephiroth now, he is done for good. So you get where I'm at. So Sephiroth merging the timelines is technically speaking a double-edged sword.
Yeah.
So because if he merges all timeline and if he loses, then he loses for good. Like there is no coming back for him at least. So I could see that happening in part 3.
Yeah. That would sort of lead into one of the questions we have later, but I'll get into them.
Oh, sure. Oh, sorry about that. But yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yes. Going back to the questions. So Surya asks, how will Vincent play? And I have no idea, so I'm gonna leave all this. So I'm gonna leave this one to you.
So, I never used Vincent much in the original, but I think he uses guns, so he'll be like a gun user, I think. But also, I think he'll be able to transform into that beast that we fought in Rebirth. So I think I don't know exactly how he plays in Dirge of Cerberus, but it'll be similar to that.
Dirge of
So
Cerberus.
maybe like a, huh?
Dirge of Cerberus is a third-person shooter. So, but yeah, go on. Yeah.
Yeah, no. So I think in that sense, I think he will be using his gun a lot in Remake Part 3. So I think he'll be playing in that way, but also I think he'll have like his beast form, which he'll be able to play as.
Oh wait, fuck! We forgot to talk about this. What do you think part 3 is gonna be called? Like, fuck, man, bro. I'm sorry. It's like midnight here.
Yeah, that's pretty important, I think.
Yeah.
So what I've noticed and what other people have noticed is Remake Rebirth is sort of relating to Sephiroth. So I think Remake was him kind of remaking reality in the sense that Final Fantasy VII's events will be remade to be told in a different way. Rebirth is him being reborn as a new form of Sephiroth. As we saw in the final battle, he was Sephiroth reborn, right?
Yeah.
I think part 3 might be revival in the sense that he will kind of build this new world and be revived in some way into like a new god. I don't know, dude. I don't know.
Okay.
I think the subtitle will relate back to Sephiroth though.
Yeah. What do you call? So number one, I am pissed that Crisis Core Reunion took Reunion, the best one.
It's so dumb because
they could have.
This has nothing to do with Reunion.
Yeah. No. I'll tell you why. Because One Winged Angel in Crisis Core was named Reunion, so they just say, hey, it'd be funny if we do a remake. Let's just name the subtitle of the game the One Winged Angel's song. Like I don't fucking know whatever. But so whatever the song is called, we will find out the name. By the way, whatever One Winged Angel's song is called in this game, that's gonna be part 3's title. So we will find out on April 15th, I believe. So in 15 days from now. So not too long from now, but so yes, that's gonna be quite interesting to see. But otherwise, yeah, if it's not Reunion, I don't know what it honestly could be. Like Reunion is the best one. Yeah, Revival makes sense, and I guess even if he is getting a he's being revived as human again or something like that, where like he is we have the good Sephiroth theory, probably not true again, but just a wild one to. It's interesting to think about, but yeah. So I genuinely don't know. I want it to be Reunion, but it's not going to be that at all. So it is what it is. But whatever.
Yeah, Reunion would have been the best title. Yeah, I think.
All right. So Surya also asked, I wonder how Part 3 will handle the world. So, what do you have to say about that?
Like the world design of part 3.
I think he means like the yeah, like I guess like like we had the Chadley Intel and like the like the
Oh,
boat,
okay.
and yeah, so like what will
Well,
Part 3 bring?
I think most of the regions from Rebirth will be back, especially Cosmo Canyon, Junon.
And
Um,
Midgard, I think, right? Because we go to
Midgar will be
Midgard.
back. Midgar will be its own region, I think, but
Yeah.
it'll be massive because it's Midgar. And like we will go back to Junon, we will go back to Cosmo Canyon because that's part of the story. You do go back to those places. But on top of that, we will have the glacier area, or I don't know if they're going to call it Modeoheim in part 3, but I'm assuming Modeoheim will be a part of that because that's where we also went in Crisis Core, in the snowy area. So that's
Mhm.
where that's I think that's where part 3 is going to start, basically, in that snowy area. That's going to be a new region. Mediel is going to be a new region, and one of my friends was saying that Mediel could be grouped in with Benora, which is like another location from Crisis Core. We don't know how close that is in relation to Mediel, but Mediel is also a very important location, which will have probably its own region. That beach area will be like its own region.
Okay. I'll be on.
And
Oh yeah,
then,
yeah. Go on. Sorry.
on top of that, I think the whole sky will be like its own region. So I think those 3 regions will be like new, and I think we will return to other regions as well.
And okay. I don't know about. Okay, well, to be fair, I don't remember Modeoheim from Crisis Core, but yeah, you mentioned it's a snow area. I think we go there. I actually don't recall.
Well, you go there with you go there. That's where you first meet Cloud. That's where Zack says the "Me
Oh,
Gongaga" line.
okay. I see. Yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay. All right. Well, yeah, that should be interesting. But as for what part 3 is going to handle the world, yeah, I'll speak on what I can speak on. I haven't, I haven't done this 2 and tier 3 of the OG, so I don't know too much. But I do know that, yeah, we'll be going back to Midgard for sure. So I actually can't wait to see Midgard. Like I wonder if we'll like how things are going to be different and whatnot. Because yeah, like Midgard is gonna it's gonna be a big ass map. Like
Yeah.
Midgard is like
Do
I
you think
like
we'll
that.
be able to explore every single area we explored in Remake?
So do you recall in Midgard, like before you go to save no in in part 1, before you go to save Aerith, like it's kind of open, like you can go anywhere. Like you could go to sector
Yes,
8,
yeah.
5, or or the slums and whatnot. Well, I guess what remains of the slums now. Yeah, I think you'll be able to explore that area, but I don't think topside, unless we go inside the Shinra building in the OG at some point again, or do we not go? I mean, you could tell me that if we go to the Shinra building again.
Yes, you do. In a
Okay, all
very
right, never mind.
pivotal. Actually,
Okay,
wait. I don't remember exactly how it happens, but the whole point is you go back to Midgar. I don't remember exactly how it happens and where you go. I kind of forgot, but
okay,
yeah.
yeah, but yeah, so. But you recall the part where we were with Jesse in chapter 4 of the remake, like you ride the bike and you meet the fucking
Yeah, yeah,
roach dude, which like he's cool,
yeah.
but I'd rather not speak on him. Like he exists, and that's all I care about. But yeah, um, but what do you call yeah, not that area, like like I don't think we'll be able to go to like that top side area, like because that was a dungeon, you could argue. So but yeah, so but it'd be interesting because Midgard is pretty big, like not as big as the whole map of Rebirth, but like yeah, it's like if you really consider the size, it's like the size of like maybe 1 or 2 like regions from Rebirth. Maybe not the grassland because the grassland is massive. So, but like yeah, but like something like the Junon region, because that is a bit smaller than the grassland, if I remember correctly. So yeah, but could be interesting. Yeah, and we'll definitely go to Wutai, Rocket Town, the Northern Crater.
Oh yes, I forgot to mention Wutai and Rocket Town. Yeah, Wutai will
Yeah.
be a region. Rocket Town will be a region.
Yeah, and we will get like the spaceship. We'll get the airplane to travel through, so that could be fun to drive. We actually do fly the plane a little bit in Rebirth, till you get like a tease of how that's gonna be. So could be cool. All right. Next question is by Zeno Burb, and he asks, "What do you think of Aerith's quote-unquote death scene, and what so you think of Rebirth compared to Remake?" Okay, I think he meant what do you think, not so you think. But okay, so we already spoke a bit on Aerith's death, so you guys can just re-see the like the past timestamp. So but yeah, but we'll speak on the second part of his question. So go on.
You can go first on
Sure.
this.
So I think Rebirth is Remake, but better in every single way. Like, genuinely, it's better in every way, other than that one slight, graphics thing, which is which we can overlook. So, but because it's overall, it's a very net positive, and the trade-off for the worst graphics is that you get a big open area. So I think I'm fine with that. And what about you?
I think like you were saying, it's better in every single way, but the main thing for me is Remake was very linear and almost somewhat claustrophobic, whereas Rebirth is just wide and open and expansive, and I love it. I love how open it is. And like I said earlier in the video, it's everything I look for in a video game in that way.
Okay. Yeah. Which I guess I'll add on to the question, which I think okay, how about this actually? What do you think part 3's storage is gonna be? Is it gonna hit the 200?
I have no idea, but I think I wouldn't be surprised if it's a cross-gen game on PS5, PS6.
Yeah, it likely will be because what do you call it? So Remake took about 5 years to make. I assume this started in 2014 because they showed off a demo like a very early stage demo in 2015. So they had to start at least a year or two before that. Remake took 4 years. Rebirth, Remake took 5 to 6 years. Remake took 4 years. So I can see part 3 taking minimum 3 years, but most likely 4 years because games do get delayed and whatnot. So, so 2028, I could see it. But if it's 2028, it will no, I believe right now the PS6 is supposed to come out in 2028, if I'm correct, like the rumors and leaks. So, yeah, it would be like Remake actually, where it comes out at the start. With the console's coming out like at the end of the year. So yeah, it'd be Remake all over again. But anyways, but yeah, I think it could hit 200 like GB of storage. Like that'd be I mean, games already do that today. Like Red Dead Redemption, I believe, is pretty big. So yeah, I can see that. All right. So now we have the very last question by Sam Talks Games, and he asks, "Who will be the main antagonist of Part 3? Is Part 3 the end of the compilation?" So you want to go first?
I'll go first on this. Basically, I don't know what else they could do with the compilation after Part 3, because the whole reason they're doing this remake project is to kind of bring all the compilation games together: Crisis Core, Dirge Cerberus, Advent Children, Before Crisis, Ever Crisis, First Soldier. It's all like coming together in one game. All the lore, all the characters are all coming together in one game. And it's happening. So I don't see what else they can do after this, but I can see them milking Final Fantasy VII as a property for like ever at this point because it's just that popular and it's just that big. So I can see more things happening, maybe not as big scale as the remake trilogy or as big as anything like that. I do think we'll get a remaster of Dirge of Cerberus. As silly as that may sound, I think that's definitely in the works, and I think that's probably gonna happen.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Yeah, go on. I just can't help
I
laugh.
think we'll get that, and I think we'll. I as far as like, I think we'll just get like remasters and remakes in the vein of that. I think like Ever Crisis might come to like, I think it is like probably going to come to PC. So
It's already
more
on
people-
Steam, actually. It's all,
Oh,
it's all-
okay.
yeah.
So that's one thing, and then
Mhm.
I think yeah, outside of part 3, I think it'll just be Dirge of Cerberus remake, and maybe like other things they want to do, more mobile games or things like that. Nothing huge. And
Okay.
as for who the villain of part 3 is going to be, it'll be Sephiroth, like we talked about,
Mhm.
and then it might be Jenova, who trumps over Sephiroth. We have to fight Jenova with Sephiroth. But I also think this, I don't know how many other theories you've seen, but there's like theories that because the live stream is being manipulated so much with all these whispers and all this stuff, the weapons are a little irritated, the weapons are annoyed about that. But there is a goddess of the live stream, which we see in Crisis Core, and her name is Minerva. And
Oh, okay. I don't
Minerva
recall
is
this.
like
Mhm.
basically the goddess of the live stream who keeps things like under control within the live stream. I was expecting to get some lore on her in Rebirth, but we didn't. So hopefully she comes back and remake part 3, because I was always assuming that the reason Aerith, like Aerith is a Cetra, so she's able to see all these different worlds and all these timelines and have this control over all that. But I'm also assuming that the person who's kind of guiding her in the right direction in that way is also Minerva. But
Okay.
Minerva might be an ally, but also might turn into an adversary if we tamper with the live stream too much. So I don't know. We'll see. That's just a theory of mine, but we'll
Okay,
see.
interesting. Yeah. As for me, I think the main antagonist is likely going to be Sephiroth. Maybe Jenova pulls a last minute stunt where actually Psych, I'm the real villain, but if that is done, don't know if it's going to be cooked enough. But so likely it's going to be Sephiroth. I mean, it's like, I don't think they'll go that crazy with that, but yeah. As for part 3, the end of the compilation, now that is where it gets interesting. So, in terms of the remake trilogy, yes, part 3 will be the end. It is possible that we might get DLC for when part 3 comes out, so that might be the real ending. So they could pull a future redeemed, actually. I mean, but let's don't, probably not. But you know, just like, though, if we like, even if we get like a DLC story, it might just be like a side thing or something, or I don't know. But anyways, like, depending on what they do, or like, it could be like a Zack DLC or something. But I would prefer if that's in the main game. Actually, I would love to see a Zack DLC for this game. Actually, that would fit pretty well.
I think we're like, you know how we got Yuffie's intermission DLC? I think we're gonna get a Zack DLC.
I
for
would.
Rebirth.
Yeah, I would hope so, because I know Final Fantasy 16 got DLC, but that was not planned from the start. I believe it got planned like later on, if I'm correct. So we hopefully,
I think Remake's
something
DLC
like
was already planned because it not only has Yuffie, but it sets up Deep Ground, which is like the villain organization in Dirge of Cerberus.
Yeah, I think I think that might play in more with the Wutai from what I know from other people. So yeah, can't wait to see that. Yeah, as for the end of compilation, personally, sorry, you mentioned that Dirge of Cerberus is gonna get a remaster likely. I don't think so, but I'd be down for it. I mean, hey, why not? It's just that game did not sell well at all. It was a pretty bad game. And
Yeah,
funny
it's
enough,
not a very good game, but
Monolith Soft
yeah,
helped out, I believe, if I'm correct. I could be wrong,
yeah,
or
I think they did.
which is okay, but it's funny. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna look that up. Did Monolith Soft help
I
them out?
think they did. I
I
think
just want
I
to
saw
double
that
check.
earlier.
Yeah, Dive and Cerberus, Monolith Soft. Okay, probably cut this part out actually. Yep, they did it. Okay, yep, okay. Yeah, so we could see a remake of that. Will be interesting, but doubt. And but yeah, I do think that as for remake wise, we will get like this will be the end of the remake trilogy. But it's not over because what do you call Ever Crisis is like an episodic game. Like I believe every month they come out with like a new episode of like a like a new story event. So I could see that going, but though actually wait, it probably would finish by 2028. So never mind. I would assume so, but you never know these days with how slow game development can be. So yeah, and like as you mentioned, I also agree that they'll definitely milk FF7 more, which
Mm.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm all down for it. Like as long as it's not like Persona 5 level of we
I
should
think
be
it will be, because
yeah,
it sort of
actually you are
has
right.
been. It has
Yeah,
been for the past 20 years, so I think it will continue to be.
but hey man, as long as we don't get like a spin-off game of like fucking of like a rhythm game of dance where in this world Sephiroth
Yeah.
you like
Well,
okay, I was
Kingdom
joking.
Hearts got it, so don't be surprised if FF7 gets it.
Yeah, I mean I was trying to make a joke because Persona has Persona dancing, so Final
Yeah.
Fantasy 7
No,
dance.
I'm just saying, yeah, I know Persona dancing is a thing, but also Kingdom Hearts Melody of Memory is a thing as well. So it is a genuine possibility.
Okay, we haven't spoken on this because because I don't know any Kingdom Hearts like lore or spoilers, but but I do know Cloud is in Kingdom Hearts, so he could return to Kingdom Hearts 4. But I mean, you might know if you played them the context on this, but because I know he is
I
in 1, 2, and 3.
I don't know how canon Kingdom Hearts is to the actual like Final Fantasy universe, but
True, true.
there's a lot of people saying that it would be cool if Kingdom Hearts is referenced in like Remake Part 3. I don't think it will be, and I also haven't played many Kingdom Hearts games. I haven't played
Okay,
anything past 2, but
okay.
I know that a very big point of contention was that in Kingdom Hearts 3 there was no Final Fantasy representation.
Oh, I thought there was. I remember seeing like a video which showed about like Aerith's voices, and they showed Final Fantasy. It showed Kingdom Hearts 3. Is she?
Probably it was probably Kingdom Hearts 2, because Kingdom
Huh.
Hearts 3 famously has little to no Square Enix representation outside of
Oh, never
Kingdom
mind.
Hearts and Disney characters.
Oh,
So we'll
okay.
see.
Never mind then.
We'll, we'll see what happens in 4, though. We'll see.
Yeah, I have to play Kingdom Hearts one day. One day we'll see. But yeah.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Yeah, I think that is covers about everything. I mean, I'm sure we probably missed something, but I mean, guys, it's already 2 hour plus podcast. We can only speak to so much on a 70-hour game. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, anything else you want to add before we get? Oh, actually, I have one thing I wanted to ask you. So, one thing. So two things. Sorry, but the one thing I'm not gonna talk about or ask you to go on. But we didn't speak about the gi because in this world they made.
Oh, the Goo was interesting because we didn't really know how the black material was created, why it was
Mhm.
created, who created it. So that was cool that it was there, but I was hoping that they would talk about it more in the end of the game, but they
Yeah,
didn't really.
Yeah,
But
I
at the
did.
same time, I think I hope we get more explanation for that in the next
Yeah,
game.
I'm gonna be honest. I feel like the Gi, from what I see in Rebirth, they seem someone that's important or significant, but it seems like it's kind of sidelined. Like they're gonna be like a minor nuisance, or like they're gonna be another antagonist because we're not Cloud is not gonna give them the fucking black materia. He's gonna give Sephiroth, if anyone, the black materia, not them. um, so they're gonna get pissed. Like, what the fuck? You said you would. You said you would give it to us. So then we'll be fighting
Yeah,
them.
he
But
could
that's not
be
gonna be.
other adversaries that
Yeah,
we
but
encountered.
they not at all are going to be like a problem. I mean, to say like going to be a minor nuisance in my opinion, like compared to Sephiroth, like yeesh, no. But yeah, the one thing I want to actually talk about is Chadley. Okay, I could be wrong if it's on a side quest. Correct me, but they straight up tell you that I was created by Hojo, and I'm like, what?
I think he even says that in remake as well.
No, he does not. I
But
do not recall that. If I would
oh,
have,
okay.
no, that's
But yeah,
it's
I think yeah, he's basically a Hojo creation, and a lot of people jokingly are saying he's going to be like the super boss at the end of part 3, which would be
no,
pretty
no,
funny.
no, not that. But I'm just, it makes sense. But I'm like, oh damn, wait. But
Yeah.
if he's made from Hojo, is he going to live stream then, or is he going to become a Gi?
I don't think either way. I don't know. That's I haven't really thought about that.
Yeah, that's
But
okay. That's a
I
topic
think
for
him
another
being an
day.
AI is kind of like a whole separate thing. He's not a human, so he won't go into the live stream. He's not a Gi because he's not like an undead kind of thing.
Ah,
He's just a
fair.
robot.
But yeah, I mean, overall, if there's anything I can conclude on is that I'm happy about this game and the way its success. You know, the game did not sell well, but that's a story for yeah, that's another topic. That's PS5 exclusive moment, but but anyways, yeah, the point is that the game is very good as objectively. I loved it. I'm very happy that the lore is also very deep. I'm gonna give this game a, like, you could kind of quote unquote badge or like an honor or medal, where I give it the award of having a Xeno lore, like a level 1 Xenoblade level of lore. Level
Yeah.
1 means it's equivalent to one game. So Remake and Rebirth
Yeah.
now as a whole, no, sorry, Final Fantasy 7 as a compilation as a whole equals to one Xenoblade game's worth of lore. So basically, the lore is deep as fuck, and it's very good. I mean, in my opinion. So, and what about you?
I'm enjoying it. I'm liking what they're doing with it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Any like final conclusion thoughts or like ramble you want to say before?
Just overall, great game. I'm excited for part 3, and I'm looking forward to like theorizing and theory crafting for the next 4-5 years whenever we get the next game.
Mhm.
Yeah.
All
Yeah, that's
right.
about it.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. So I guess we'll call it a day. And yeah, thank you again for staying. If you stayed until the end, thank you very much. Hope you enjoyed our podcast. Yeah, and yeah, go subscribe to Niche channels, and yeah, and also subscribe to my channel as well. And yeah, join my server. We have lots of fun. You can speak with me and other people about Final Fantasy and Xenoblade stuff and other JRPGs. So yeah, alrighty, we will see you guys on the flip side. Bye bye.
Later, guys. See ya.
Subscribe to the Epic Fault, or else I will use Sacred Arrow and Burning Sword on you and your entire family.